Hey, beautiful souls. Welcome to my channel, Earth Angel Tarot. And in today's Isis Unveil reading, we will be doing some shadow diving, okay? So we will be taking a look at what shadow aspects of yourself needs to be addressed, all right? And so these are the three images for the reading. Go ahead and take a look, see which one of these images calls out to you the most, which one you feel that you resonate with the most, and whichever image that is, that will be the pile that will have messages in it for you. All right. So happy picking. Hello to those of you who chose pile number one. And so this is the image that you felt drawn to. All right, and so now we are going to go ahead and jump right in and do some shadow diving for you. All right, and so as you can see, I've already pre-pulled your oracle cards, and later in the reading we'll pull some tarot cards as well to further confirmate the messages. All right, so let's get started. All right, and you guys have escapism. Okay, and it says detach from daily struggles and relax, but don't use it as a form of avoidance. Relaxation, facing reality. All right. And so, yes, I know honestly, like for all of us in these times, like we all want to have that moment of escapism, right? Where we can just get away from our day to day mundane activities, right? Where we just feel like we're just in this ongoing loop of repetitive cycles, okay? And so, you guys are being invited to take a moment to step away from that in a way where you allow yourself to feel at ease and know that everything's going to be okay. All right. And what I'm getting with this is for you to relax, but to mostly and mainly relax your mind. Okay, that's what's coming through. Relax your mind. So a lot of you may just have a lot on your mind as far as thinking about what needs to be done, what hasn't been done, just like a whirlwind of thoughts that you carry. Okay, so some of you guys may be overthinkers. All right, so you're being invited to just take that moment to pause and reflect. All right. I'm picking up the four source energy. All right. But also, but not in a way, as the card says, where you're running away from your duties or you're running away from your problems, but just really having that four swords type energy where you put down the fight, right? You lay down the swords and you're not going to fight against um, reality anymore, right? You're going to see things for what they are. You're going to see people for who they are, right? Not running away from the struggle anymore, but just instead realizing and or just facing it head on. Right. So just coming to terms. Okay. This is what's coming through. A lot of you just need to come to terms with how things are. Okay. And realizing that if things are not ideal for you at this time, it's that you have the power and the opportunity to change that. Okay. You don't have to be a victim of circumstance or situations. All right. And so this is where that moment of pause and reflection will allow for you to see what necessary steps can be taken on your behalf. All right, what can steps can be taken on your behalf that's going to help you to change areas in your life where they need to be changed. Okay, but it comes in the form of just relaxing the mind. All right, as I was saying earlier, not I don't get more of a physical type of relaxation. I get for you all, you need to have more of a mental relaxation. Okay, stop overthinking things. Stop letting your thoughts just run 100 miles per hour. Really take that moment to reflect. Okay, this is what's needed for you all, a moment to reflect. Okay, but relax, I was saying earlier, not relaxing as in a way of, you know, ignoring or neglecting your duties, but relaxing in a way where you're reflecting. All right, what is it that needs to be changed? What is it that you want to do differently? So, this is what's needed for you all at this time, a form of escapism that's going to allow for you to use a different perspective and eventually a different approach. All right. Yes, and look, we have unseen patterns. And this is just like, this is why you need this moment of escapism, right? Because if things are continuing to be the same, in whatever area of your life, and it's not giving you the ideal results, like I was saying, this is going to be a moment for you to really take a moment and look at, why are things the same? Why does these patterns keep repeating themselves, right? And so this is what the escapism is going to help you to do. It's going to help you to reflect and not deflect, right? Reflect on what it is that needs your attention. All right. At this moment, you guys are being called to reflect on the things or the areas in your life that needs your attention. Okay. And so we have unseen patterns. All right. And it says, change your thoughts, change your life. Beliefs reprogramming. Yes. And this is what you guys are needing to do. All right. You're needing to look at what patterns in your life are you keeping up with, but that's not benefiting you, right? That's not helping you. All right. And so there's things that will continue to repeat in your life, okay, until you learn the lesson. All right, that's how karmic patterns work. That's how universal laws work, right? The whole point when we come down here is for us to evolve, okay, not only on a spiritual level, but also in our 3D form as well, all right, so that our next go round, meaning our next reincarnation, we're not keeping up with the same patterns that we were stuck with before, right? So we're ascending and we're moving on to bigger and better things. And so the patterns that needs, this is where you need to kind of go in and see what is repeating itself and why. What lesson am I missing from this, and how can I address it? How can I fix it? Right. And so this is where you need to kind of remove yourself from that daily, like the card says, daily struggles, right? The same mundane task and the same mundane activities day in, day out. You need to really remove yourself in a sense of more so a mental removal, right? Detach yourself mentally from that, because that's what's fogging your mind. That's what's keeping you really not seeing from that different perspective. And I'm just getting like a, how when the glass is frosted, right, and you can't really see through it, but then when you go to like wipe the frost off, you can see more clearly. You can see straight through whatever it is you're trying to see through. And so this is how the mind is working for you right now. Your mind is working for you right now. It may be kind of all over the place. It may be scattered. It may be fogged, right? And so you're being asked to remove the fog, remove the clutter from your mind, okay, through escapism, so that you can see these unseen patterns, right? And really, sometimes this takes a lot. This sometimes is it takes exactly what this reader is about, doing the shadow diving, right? Facing our dark night of the soul, facing things even about ourselves that we normally try to not acknowledge, okay? But this is what helps to clear the fog. All right, this is what helps it all to make sense in the end. When you can look at these patterns and realize where they stem from, why they are there, and why they keep repeating themselves. All right, and so this is going to be a reflection on your part, okay, a reflection on your behalf, okay. So it's not necessarily looking through the window to look through at someone else. It's looking through the window, right, to see yourself, okay, like that internal reflection. Okay. And so this, like I was saying, like sometimes it's hard for us to do because no one really wants to acknowledge flaws about themselves or dramas about themselves or traumas within themselves. They rather just deal with the day to day as it operates. Okay. And so, in order for you to really take it to the next level, power number one, you are being called to really go into the mental space, okay, to gain the mental clarity. All right, I'm getting Ace of Swords energy. Gain the mental clarity and the mental insight needed in order for you to see these unseen patterns that you've been ignoring. Okay, and it's not to say you don't know about them, it's just like I said, you've been ignoring them. All right, and I'm getting mostly these are things about yourself. Maybe I know I mentioned deflection earlier, so you may be someone who likes to deflect your problems onto other people because it's easier to help you ignore your own. All right. But then you can't seem to figure out why certain things or why certain patterns in your life continue to repeat themselves. And it's because you're not taking the lesson that is meant to be taken, okay, from these situations. All right. And a lot of times that causes for us to go within. All right. So this is what you're being called to do. Power number one is to go within. All right. And face reality head on. Okay. Like I was saying, if you're in um, circumstances right now that are not the best or whatever the case is, and you're not happy with whatever's going on, then this is you facing that reality of it instead of ignoring it and seeing what changes can be made on your behalf. All right. Okay. And then you guys have shame. You are not flawed. You are so worthy of love and belonging. Forgive yourself for not giving yourself enough self love. All right. So yeah, and the part and this is part of, I feel like, your unseen patterns. This is connected to those unseen patterns. All right. Um the shame you may feel around past events, okay, past circumstances, past situations that you've went through. All right. And so I get like someone who just, like, you know how you just want to crawl in a hole and like bury your true self and put on this mask and present yourself in a way where you appear to be all put together. All right. Not facing the reality of life. All right. And so this is when you have that reality check. Okay. When you give yourself that reality check, you'll realize that whatever circumstances you've went through that was out of your control, that it is, those circumstances were not your fault, right? But it is your obligation or your duty to learn the lesson from that. What was that intended? What did that circumstance intend to do for you, right? Was it intended to help uplift you? Was it intended to help make you stronger? Was it intended to give you the resilience that you needed for later in life? And so the thing here is for you to not walk around with shame or guilt based off any past wrongdoings, okay, whether they were on your behalf or someone else's. Okay, forgive yourself for not giving yourself enough self-love, okay, through whatever situation or circumstance that you went through. All right. And I'm getting now, some of you may compare your life situations to others. All right. You may feel like you could have done better in some area of your life, and because you may feel like you're in the situation that you're in right now because you didn't do better, okay, in your past, right? Maybe you made some wrong decisions, okay, maybe you made some wrong choices. All right. But no decision or choice is ever wrong, okay, even if it leads to some type of wrongdoing, because the whole ideal of those decisions and choices is to lead to a divine understanding of self. Okay. And so whatever shame or whatever guilt that you may carry around with yourself right now, is you're being asked to release that. Okay. Release it, let it go, because that's part of your fog. That's part of your mental fog. All right. And so you need to clear the glass, wipe the glass clear, so that you can really go back in that authentic self that you've buried away, you can allow that person to come out again. All right. And then you guys have fearful, a learned behavior that can be unlearned. Also, a low vibrating feeling that creates limitations for you in your future happiness, right? And the low vibrating feeling, pal number one, is the mental fog, right? The mental fog. And that's what causes, and this is why I said, like, this is why things needs to be cleared for you mentally, right? And you need to have a clean slate when it comes to your perspective on things, on life especially. All right. Because it's like you rather run from the truth than to face it head on. Okay, you don't want to face the reality of whatever situations or whatever burdens you may face. It's easier for you to just run away from them. But what you don't realize is that you're running in a circle. All right, that you're running in a circle, meaning that at some point you're going to end up back at the same point. Okay, at some point you're going to end up back at the same point until you can remove yourself from that loop, until you can learn to face reality for what it is. Okay, and learn to realize things such as shame and being fearful. Those are patterns that needs to be let go. All right, these are some of your unseen patterns. The shame you carry around something, the fearfulness that you carry around stepping outside of your comfort zone, maybe. All right, and this could be, just a learned behavior. This could be, I'm getting like someone who groomed, right? Some of you could be in groomed relationships, all right? Whereas like the person you're with, instead of uplifting you, they rather shame you, right? They rather make you feel bad for choices or decisions or characteristics about yourself. They rather make you feel bad about those things instead of uplifting you. All right. And so these are unseen patterns that you've kind of that has subconsciously become a part of who you are. So that's why it's easier for you to kind of just go with the flow of the situation that you're in. All right. And this is where escapism is needed so that you can remove yourself from that train of thought, for that learned behavior that you picked up on how to view life. All right. You need a clear, clean mental slate. Okay. As this card says, a learned behavior that can be unlearned. Okay. So what are you fearful about? What changes are you fearful about? Um, and how can you make the correction around it? All right. Once you really take a look through that mirror, once you clear the fog that is obscuring the view, what is it that you will see on the other side? Okay, what part of reality will you see then that you get this epiphany moment where you're like, okay, now I get it. Now I see what changes needs to be made. All right. Yes, look at this. We have a fake shadow. And this is just what I was saying like earlier, like put it on a mask, right? For some of you, it's easier to just put on the mask and go with the flow rather than really living or being in your true authentic nature. All right. And so with the fake shadow card, we have false appearance, actions to please others, superficial, copy, not genuine. All right. And the message says you will be rewarded when you choose to live a life that reflects the truth instead of living a life created to please others. Yes. This is your time to step out of that energy. Pal number one. This is your time to step out of that energy of living life just to please. All right, living life because you feel like those were that was the hand you were dealt, so you're just going to work with it, right? And so no matter how, um, uh, uh, no matter how you make yourself appear that things are okay on the outside, All right, it's time to go and to reflect, okay, and see what it is that you truly feel inside. Liberate yourself. Power number one, you are being called to liberate yourself, especially with this escapism card. All right, look at things, give yourself that new clear vision. All right, no more hiding behind the fog. All right, and this may be, something that is not even difficult to face for you, because it may even cause for you to um, let your own skeletons out the closet. All right, it may even cause for you to look at things or patterns about yourself, right, that you weren't necessarily ready to address. All right, dark night of the soul. But this is what's going to help you to step in your truth. Okay, this is what's going to help you to live a life around you. Okay, and not around other people's actions, opinions, feelings, behaviors. Right, it's time for you to release and relinquish all of those unseen patterns that keeps you there. All right, because if not, you're just going to keep dealing with these same situations and circumstances, maybe even people, until you get the lesson, until you learn the lesson. All right, and whatever that lesson is for you, okay, depending on what your situation is. All right, and so now I am going to pull some tarot, and we are going to see what messages, what additional messages the beautiful beloved Mother Goddess has for you around um, these messages. All right. So thank you, beautiful beloved Mother Goddess Isis. What else do you want Pal number one to know in regards to these messages? Okay. It is time for you to love yourself, flaws and all. Pile number one, it is time for you to love yourself, flaws and all. I feel like you haven't given yourself enough credit, right? And I'm getting like just someone who's just, just going with the flow, same thing day in, day out, appearing to be happy on the outside. All right, fake shadow, appearing to be happy on the outside, but that is not what's going on in the inside. All right, and so you just need the moment to let go. Look at this, we have the Ten of Swords. All right, and the Ten of Swords is a card of painful endings. Right, the Ten of Swords is a card of painful endings, but guess what, after the 10 comes the Ace. Right, so it creates that space for new beginnings. All right, so even though you may have went through a difficult time, or maybe going through a difficult time, right, this, and I'm also getting um betrayal and backstabbing with this, right? And so some of you, like I was saying earlier with the shame, some of you don't have that right support system. All right, some of you don't have that right support system, and this could be too in someone's marriage. You don't have the right support system, right? And so these painful endings, okay, or going through this, or facing reality. All right, facing reality for you can be very, very painful, for you to really just see or acknowledge things for what they are and not running away from it. But as I said, with the Ten of Swords, after the Ten of Swords comes the Ace, right? So it opens up that energy and it creates that space for new beginnings, right? New emotional beginnings. Look at this, we have the King of Cups. All right, so just ending that, and the Swords is also the suit of the mental capacity, right? So the Swords, with it being the mental capacity, is blocking your emotional capacity, right? Because it's just so much running through your head maybe all the time. And so when you allow yourself to relax, face the reality, see what things in your life are just continuous cycles, right? And you release and relinquish those things to the universe and allow yourself to open up to new energy, then you bring in emotional fulfillment. All right, with this King of Cups here, you bring in the emotional fulfillment that's needed in order for you to live your true, authentic self. All right, the side of you or part of you that you may have tucked away because of conformity. All right, so you may have conformed to someone else's way of thinking, being, behaving, acting, right, and neglecting a part of yourself. All right, and so you're being called to step back into the energy. All right, step back into a more stable emotional energy, and you're going to have to do that by facing some things about yourself that could not have been or may not be the easiest to do, right? And we have the Six of Cups. Okay, and the Six of Cups is the card of just like, and just like I was saying, that part, right, that part that you tucked away, your authentic self. The Six of Cups is that card of the past, right? So this is like you get back to peace. Okay, a peace as in like harmony, right? You refine that peace, that harmony that you had at one point. All right, so this, what it's showing up here is letting you know that, you know, peace and harmony was with you at one time, but life kind of shapes, so different situations in your life kind of shaped you in a way to where you lost that balance, you lost that peace, you lost that harmony, right? And so the Six of Cups coming up is inviting you to go back into that energy. All right, that innocent energy of peace and harmony and just being happy overall, right? Just like with the children on the card, the Six of Cups, children are very innocent, right? They're very innocent. They're not flawed, right? Just as the shame card says, you are not flawed. And they just, you know, they live life without a worry, right? And so you're just being called to step back into this childlike energy of innocence and peace and love and happiness, all right? And that's going to come with your emotional stability, all right? And then you have the moon, all right? And so the moon is a card of reflection. All right, so this is saying that you need to address those things about yourself that you weren't ready to see in the light, or that you were not ready to bring to the light. All right, and so this is what you're being called, is to face that shadow self. All right, with the moon showing up here, a card of reflection. All right, really taking a look within so that you can find that true inner peace. All right, that true inner happiness, and so that you can really look at your situations from different angles and from different perspectives. All right, that's going to help you to live in your true reality. All right, your authentic reality, and so that you're not continuing to repeat same outdated, outgrown patterns. All right, living under this fake shadow, putting on the mask and going out into the world as if everything is fine on the outside, but internally it's not. So this is the time and the moment, pal number one, for you to have that moment of reflection. Okay, that moment of reflection, that moment of relaxation, that moment of clearing the fog. All right, clearing the fog so that you can see clearly and that you can see things as they are intended to be seen. All right, so it's all going to start with you making the choice and the effort to do that. All right. All right, my beautiful pal number one, that is all that I have for you. Leave a message or a comment in the comment section. Let me know how this reading resonated with you. If it did, also be sure to like, share, and subscribe, my loves. And until next time, take care and bye bye. Hello to those of you who chose pal number two. And so this is the image that you all chose, all right? And so now we'll go ahead and we will do some shadow diving to see what it is that you need to address at this time, all right? And so I have already pre-pulled your oracle messages, so we'll start with those and we'll do some tarot later on, all right? And so you guys have addiction, okay? And what first came through when I pulled this card is running away from problems, all right? So the message here is compulsive need despite negative consequences. Get support in therapy. All right. And it says healing, liberation, and support. All right. So, yeah, some of you guys, it's so funny because pal number one had escapism as their first message, right? And I do feel like this is kind of tied in the sense where you guys have picked up habits or addictions, right? As a form of escapism. Okay. So you may be, there may be messages in pal number one for you. Okay. So if you feel drawn to that pal, I would suggest, checking that out. But you guys have picked up different type of addictions, as the card states, okay, as a form of escapism, okay, as a form to help you to run away from reality, to run away from the truth, okay? And this could be things that are going on in your current situations or circumstances that you're trying to run away from, or you guys could be trying to run away from things of the past. All right. And so you have these addictive behaviors that you picked up as a coping mechanism, right? As a way for you to cope. All right. And addiction doesn't have to be, addicted to like hardcore drugs or whatever. Okay. Addictions can show up in different forms or fashions. All right. Addictions can be gambling addictions. Addictions can be shopping addictions. Addictions can be eating addictions. Okay. Drinking addictions, whatever it is that you subconsciously do, all right, because you're trying to run away from reality, all right. And that was also the meaning of the escapism card from pal number one, all right. So just not really wanting to face things head on, so you found a coping mechanism that kind of helps you to curve, right? I'm getting curve the ball or whatever that means, right? But this is what you guys, this is a shadow aspect of you guys, of yourselves, that you need to really pay attention to. All right. A lot of times it's easy to say that we like certain things or we do certain things, uh, for enjoyment, right? So it's easy to pass it off, as, oh, I drink because, I like to drink, or I shop because I like to shop, or I gamble because it's fun and I like to gamble. That's, for the most part, that could be just a cover up, right? So that's just your ego tricking you into believing that that's why you do those things, when subconsciously you're doing those things as a way for you to deflect. Okay, the way for you to deflect away from reality. All right, and so this is where you're being called to really look at what patterns, that was another card in pile number one, what patterns are or behaviors do you have around unhealthy choices that you may be making, okay, and liberate yourself from those things, because once you realize, or once you come to terms with the truth of why you do what you do, then that's going to help you to really get down to the nitty gritty, right? To really get down to the focal point of whatever this addiction stems from. All right. So this is one of the shadow. And actually, this pal, you guys actually got more cards came out for you than the other two pals. All right. So this is, well, let's see what the next card says. All right. And you guys have control issues. Okay. And it says fear of losing power or false security leads to vulnerability. All right. And it says release trust and empowerment. All right. And this is part of, exactly, this is you. These addictions could stem from you not feeling like you have control, right? So having these addictions gives you some type of false sense of feeling like you have control over things, right? Because it puts you in this somewhat of an ease, right? So if you're, whatever your addiction is, if you're doing it and it eases you just for that moment, you may feel like you have better control over your situation or your circumstances because you're looking at it from a different perspective, right? Because so it gives you this false sense of hope. Okay, it's what addictions really do, because it numbs you for just the moment. All right, but then just like the snap of a finger, it's time to go back to reality once that fades away. All right, and so you having these behaviors stems around you wanted to feel like you have some type of control over your life. Okay, and maybe even others' lives as well. All right, you may be someone who gets getting verbally abusive, okay, and hopefully not, but physically abusive when you're entangled with some of these addictions. So that's coming up for someone, okay, it won't resonate with everyone. And you may like to control others when under those circumstances, okay, so for whoever that resonates with. So the whole message here for you, pal number two, is for you all to really get down to the nitty gritty. All right. And at some point, maybe especially in the past, you didn't have control or you lost control over things. And so you picked up, okay, these different behaviors that kind of makes you feel, it puts you a little bit at ease. All right. But that's just running away from the problem. All right, that's essentially just running away from the problem and not facing it dead on. All right, so if you really want to have control over the matter or your situations and circumstances, it's going to start with you having control over your emotions, having control over your feelings, okay? Having control over your thought patterns, okay? Because the ego gets in and it can twist and distort things to make you feel like what you're doing is okay. So if you really want to have control over things and you want to take back control over your life, there is a way for it to be done where you don't have to do it in a way where it's a cover up, right? It's gonna cause you, as this reading is what it is, to shadow dive, right? It's gonna cause for you to really go within and address whatever past or current situations that you go through, all right, that you try to um, deflect from, all right, and really gain so that you can regain a sense of control around your life, all right. And then you guys have codependency, and it says this is a relationship addiction. Look at this. So we have two words of addiction here. All right. So it says this is a relationship addiction. You are relying too heavily on the other person for your sense of self worth. Give yourself more self love. Yeah. So, and that could be, oh my gosh, that just ties up perfect. Like, the codependency, okay, it doesn't have to be like you can be codependent on a person, right, in a relationship, or even a parental child type of relationship. This is you being codependent on your addiction to give you the self-worth, right? So if you're you want to run away from the truth or don't want to face the reality of things, you might be someone that just say, oh well, let me go shopping, that'll make me feel better, or let me go to the casino, that would make me feel better. So then now you become codependent on these actions and these behaviors in order to make you feel better and to give you the self-worth that you're looking for. Okay. So that's, for whoever that applies to. But as the card says, this could be also for someone in a relationship. All right. You're codependent on someone to validate you. Okay. And I'm also getting someone who's with someone for their money. All right. So there's probably not any love involved there. It's just the fact that you benefit from that person, or that person enables you to live a certain lifestyle, okay, that makes you feel worthy of yourself. And so this is why you stick around. All right. So for whoever that is, whoever that resonates with, of course, that won't resonate with everyone. But um, for in that sense, for in terms of relationship, there are some who may be going through that particular situation, and for others, it could be that you are someone who is a stay-at-home parent. Okay, it could be male or female. You're a stay-at-home parent, and the other parent is the sole provider, right? And so you are codependent on them taking care of you, right? And so that subtracts or takes away from your own self-worth to where you don't have the enthusiasm, right? You don't have the drive, okay, to feel upward about yourself because you're not used to doing anything, right? So you're codependent on this person um, providing for you, okay? But that's taken away from your self worth. All right, so that's just another relationship example. All right, if you're in a relationship where there is some codependency involved, and for others, like I said, for the majority, you're codepending on whatever it is, whatever addiction that it is that's making you feel like you have control. All right, that's making you feel like you have control. So you're codependent on those things to keep you feeling that way. All right. And look at this. You guys have compulsive behaviors. Identify your internal feelings. What are you looking to control or feel for the moment? Yes. I love when like the cards align in these readings, especially when they're coming from like completely different decks. Okay. And so yes, you guys have these addictions, these compulsive behaviors, okay, these codependencies that you all are living with, okay, as a cover up to dealing with your internal feelings, okay. What are you looking to control or feel for the moment? Okay, what sense of relief are you trying to feel for the moment? As I was saying earlier, those things will only be temporary, right? It's only going to be temporary. And so what that means is that the feeling eventually fades away, it goes away, right? And so now you feel called to be compulsive and engage in that behavior again because you want to feel that high again, right? It's just like with people who may be addicted to hardcore drugs, right? That's the whole reason why they continue to do it, because they're chasing this high, right? They're chasing this feeling of ecstasy, of being able to escape from the world, if only but for a moment, right? And so this is what will keep drawing you back in, but at the same time you'll never get down to the root cause of the problem. And so this is what you're being called to do. Power number 2: get down to the root cause of the problem. Okay, and stop looking at these addictions or these things as, oh, I just like to do them for fun. Oh, it's just something to do as a pastime. Oh yeah, I really enjoy it. Like whatever excuse you make up around it or for it, like it's time to really look deeper, okay? And it's time to really go within. All right, so you can see what is the real reason behind these patterns, okay? And so you guys actually got an extra card out of this deck. Okay. So then the last one you have is manipulative. Okay. Let go of wanting to exert power over someone or a situation. Do you need to work on your self esteem? All right. Yes. Do you need to feel better about yourself? And you do, pile number 2, you do need to feel better about yourself, because what you're doing right now is just engaging in these temporary fixes, okay, that, like I was just saying, it's not going to get down to the root cause of the problem. Manipulative, right? So this is you just maybe even manipulating yourself or others as to why you do what you do, okay, and making it seem like you have control over the situation. All right. And so you just really going within is going to help you to see, like, okay, maybe I don't have control. All right. If I stopped doing whatever this addiction behavior is, if I stopped doing that, then how would I feel? Right? How would I feel if I challenged myself to stop doing whatever this addiction is for you? Okay, if I challenge myself to stop doing it, let's just say for a month, how would I feel? Would I be okay? As if, it was never a thing to me? Or would I have this compulsive behavior, like this withdrawn type of feeling? Like, would I go through withdrawal, so to say? And so, this is something you might want to challenge yourself with, pal number two, just to see if these things that, you are engaged in are just what you say for fun, or if it's something that you're doing because it gives you it makes you feel a certain type of way. All right. So if you can cut it, whatever this may be for you, if you can cut it away from your routine or your, however it shows up in your life, if you can cut it away for X amount of time, you can really see if you are and how you are affected by it, right? Can you get rid of it and be okay? Or is it going to be, are you going to feel some type of way? And if you're feeling some type of way without it, then that means that it was just a cover up to something deeper. All right. All right. And so you guys also got two of these shadow messages. So the first one is Catty Shadow. All right. And it says, subtly or indirectly insults to hurt someone, mean, petty, spiteful smugness. All right. And it says, detox the part of yourself that resonates with toxic behavior and let your moods be, let your moods to be your teacher. Right. And this is just really going within. All right. Toxic behaviors, or, and this too, that too is just like, I feel I'm getting someone who's like, who likes to be on self defense, right? Who's always in self defense mode, like, and that's just a cover up, right, for how you really internally feel about things or situations, right? So you're someone who's kind of maybe always on edge, all right, always ready to self defend, even when it's a situation where it's not necessarily called for, right? But you're just always like, maybe you like to defend your addiction because maybe someone points it out to you, like, hey, don't you think you're doing this a little too excessively, or whatever the case may be, but you don't want to hear it, right? You don't want to hear it because you're like, I got control, right? I got control over this. So don't worry about me. I got control. I know what I'm doing, right? And that's part of manipulation as well, manipulating yourself and manipulating maybe those who care for you. All right. So someone who's just always on the edge, right? Always ready to go above and beyond to defend themselves and their actions, even when it's not like at that level. All right. Now, look, y'all, I cannot make this up. I'm telling you, like, I cannot make this up. You guys have addictive shadow. Two completely different decks, okay? And these, both of these decks, well, at least one has like over 70 cards in there, right? And the other one probably has about 48, 50 something cards in there, okay? Whatever the case is. But each of them are very full decks. And so, what is the odds of both addiction cards coming out from these shadow decks? All right. So, this is strong for you all. All right. And this is really calling for you, just like I was just saying, to take the challenge. Take the challenge, whatever that you're doing that you consider quote unquote just a pastime, or something that's, I don't even want to use the word hobby because an addiction wouldn't be a hobby, but just something you're doing because you have control over it, and you're having fun with it. Take the challenge to see how would your life be without it. Do a month challenge, maybe, right, to see how would your life be without it, right? How would you manage without it? Okay. But anywho, the message here is likely to become unhealthy, dependent upon a substance, practice, person, or habit. All right. And it says, when you take control of your life, the universe will work for you. Resist and overcome your bad habits. Yes. So the universe can help you heal through whatever you're trying to evade from, okay? Whatever you're trying to run away from. All right. Pal number two, the universe can help you to do that. All right. You don't have to codepend on these different things to try to erase the problem. All right, or not even erase it, but try to just act like it don't exist. All right, the universe is here to help you get through that. And so yeah, I keep being called to the challenge. You guys are being challenged to do a challenge around whatever your addictive behavior is. Okay. um but now let's take some tarot cards and see what else the beautiful beloved mother goddess Isis has for you around these messages. Okay, I'm just gonna pull this up some. Yeah, and see, this is why you guys got those extra cards, because you were the only pal that got extra messages, okay, that came out. And so in this one, no, I think that was actually the first one. But anywho, they were extra messages because they really wanted to highlight this area in your life. Okay, they really wanted to, Mother Goddess Isis really wanted to bring this focal point through for you all right, so now let's see what additional messages, thank you beautiful beloved Mother Goddess Isis, what additional messages do you have for pal number two around their shadow diving? All right. um, yeah, so this is the time, pal number two, for you to really do some deep reflection. All right, deep reflection. Look at this. We have the Nine of Swords. All right, and the Nine of Swords energy is just look. It's like she can't even go to sleep, right? Because of it could be I've just got because of the codependencies, right? Things on her mind that just keeps her up late at night, can't fall asleep, overthinking, over worrying about stuff, right? And so this is why you are codependent. This is why you are codependent on those things that's going to help you, that will help you have nights of sleep, right? Because without them, you may be restless. You may be someone who's just overthinking, overanalyzing, thinking of the worst, afraid for the worst, right? And so while you can't sleep, you might say, oh, I can't sleep, so let me go engage in whatever you engage in, all right, to help ease my mind, to help take away any fears, any concerns, any worries, right? So that is definitely what the Nine of Swords energy is. But look, you're tired, all right? The Nine of Wands, so you have two nines here. You're tired. All right, the Nine of Wands is like the wounded warrior. Okay, and this is just to say you can only put on a show for so long, pal number two. All right, you can only put on the show for so long. And so now you're being called to really, really, really take a look within. Pile number two, you're really called to take a look within, and the universe, your angels, your spirit guides, your ancestors, they are going to be that beacon of hope. Okay, when all things else fails, okay, all those codependencies or those addictions, when you realize that they were just things to help numb, okay, and cover up the problem but not fix it, this is when the universe and your spirit team steps in to help see you the rest of the way through. All right, and give you your strength back. All right, we have the King of Wands. All right, look at that. So you go from feeling defeated, feeling tired, sleepless nights, like don't know if you can do it anymore, to calling in the right people, the right spirit teams, right, to see you through this battle. All right, wounded warrior. The 9 of Wands is the wounded warrior, to see you through the battle. Okay, so that you can sit back on your throne. All right, and you can sit back on your throne. Pile number 2. All right, and so this is what the universe has for you. Look at this, and we have the magician that comes out, and this is just saying that you can do it. This is just confirmation that it can be done. Pile number 2, with this magician showing up, you have the ability to see this through. All right, you have the ability to take back control. All right, and the magician is also about resources. So this is also letting you know that there are resources out there if your behavior is to the next level, right? And you may need a little bit professional help around it, right? The magician means tools and resources. So there's resources out there to help you. Well, whatever addiction that could be. Like I said, it could be, addictions range from any and everything, right? It's not just the hardcore substance abuse. It could be any and everything. So the beautiful beloved mother goddess Isis is with this magician showing up, telling you to use the right resources and tools. Okay, there's resources and tools out there to help you with whatever this is. All right, because you have the ability to step back in your power with this King of Wands coming here. All right, you have the ability to manifest. So pray to your angels, your spirit guides, your ancestors, your spirit team, the divine, whoever you pray to, and ask them for direction around this. All right, ask them for insight around this, and you'd be surprised what different resources might come your way. All right, with this magician card here, you definitely have the ability to manifest that. All right. Again, lastly, I'm being drawn to the challenge yourself. So for those of you who may be in denial around whatever this is, challenge yourself to see how you do without it. All right, and that will be your answer. Okay. All right, my lovely pal number 2, that is all I have for you. Leave a comment below. Let me know how this reading resonated with you. And also don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, my loves, take care and bye-bye. Hello to those of you who chose pal number 3. And so this is the image that you resonated with. All right. And so now we'll go ahead and do some shadow diving and see what it is that you need to address, okay, in your life at this moment. All right. And so these are the pre-pulled oracle messages. And we'll start with those, and then we'll pull some tarot at the end. All right. And so you guys have shadow dance. Okay. And it says, when you move shadows, you discover your rhythm. All right, fluidity, movement, and open. All right, and what I got with this is that you guys need to take the good with the bad. All right, pal number 3, learn to love yourself inside and out, flaws and all. All right, learn to address those things about yourself that are unpleasant, right? That you dislike. Learn to realize how that those things show up for you in your life, okay, and why they show up for you in your life. Okay, so instead of trying to wear a mask and pretend that everything's all peachy keen, it's time for you to address areas in your life, okay, and not even areas within your life, areas within yourself. All right, and embrace what those things that have not been pleasant, embrace those things for what they are, right? Because those things have carried you a long way, whether you see it or whether you know it. Okay, those things have carried you a long way and made you the person who you are. All right, so this is why I was getting to take the good with the bad, looking at how those things shaped you, looking at how they molded you, looking at how they made you the person that you are today. All right. And so then when you do this, you're dancing with the shadows rather than running away from them. All right. And when you're dancing with the shadows, you're looking at it face on, right? You're looking at it head on, and it can no longer have control over you. It can no longer hover above or within you, right? Working through the ego. Because when you learn to accept flaws and all, and things about yourself that are unpleasant or that you're not proud of, or whatever the case may be, when you learn to accept those things, okay, and embrace those things because they've made you into the person who you are, right? Then those things don't have control over you. Okay, you're able to dance with them instead of run from them. All right, and so this is what you're being called to do. All right, and look at this positive change. Yes, that's exactly what it will bring. Power number 3, facing these things, the shadow aspect of yourself head on will bring positive change. All right, and the message is transform pain into strength and empower yourself. All right, and it says ascend evolution free. Yes, and I actually feel like I feel the energy of like you guys just like releasing a load, right? 10 of Wands energy is what I'm picking up. You guys just releasing burdens because you learn to forgive yourself. All right, you learn to forgive yourself, and I feel like that's what's most important for you during this shadow dance, is for you learning to not only embrace your shadow aspects, okay, but also for you to forgive yourself. Okay, forgive yourself around any past pain, any past hurts, any past regrets. Okay, so when you're able to address those things and embrace those things for what they are, power number 3, you're able to free and liberate yourself from them hovering over you and lingering within your subconscious, right? Being that voice in the back of your head, making you doubt yourself, making you question yourself, making you not believe in yourself. And so this is why it's important for you to say, you know what? Yeah, I did XYZ and I'm not proud of it, but it is what it is. I've grown from that. I'm facing that and I'm moving on from that. Right. And so when you're moving on from that, you're bringing about positive change. All right. And so this is what this pal is being called to do. You guys are being called to no longer run from your shadow, but to face it head on so that you can ascend, so that you can liberate yourself, so that you can free yourself, right? And these things, these past worries, doubts, fears that you hold can no longer have control over you. All right. And then you guys have defensiveness. Okay. Hear other people's perspectives and feelings. Shift your focus to them. It's not always about you. All right. So, yeah. So, just as the card says, right? It's not always about you, right? So even when you're hearing these things, or I'm getting like when you're hearing things or people are saying things or doing things, right? And you have this inclination to act defensively, it's because someone who's easily triggered, right? And why you are easily triggered could be because you're harboring old feelings and emotions about things that could have happened in the past. So that causes you to keep your defenses up, right? And this is what I was saying, how those shadow aspects of yourself can have control over you if you don't face them head on, right? They have control over you, making you someone who is easily triggered rather than being able to just listen to what someone has to say, look at someone's perspectives for how they see it, and being okay with that, right? And not being bothered by that. Okay, but if you're someone who's easily triggered and easily bothered because of other people's opinions or perspectives or feelings, then that just means that you're harboring your own feelings and emotions that has not been addressed. Okay, your own self-doubts, your own fears. Okay, and this is how it hovered. This is what I mean when I say things hovering over you or within you. This is how it gains control over you, all right, through the ego, right, causing you to feel like you have to be always on the defense. Okay, always have to be ready, like ready to battle, right, ready, just like someone who's just ready to let it be whatever, right. And so part of that, power number three, is for you to understand that that stems from those type of triggers, or that type of botherness. It stems from your own insecurities, all right, your own insecurities. And so this is why it's going to be important for you to face what those insecurities are, all right, so that you don't have to always feel on edge or be defensive or having your emotions easily triggered, right, because your shadow, the shadow aspect of self, is in control rather than you being in control. All right, and then we have resentful. Okay, and it says, think loving thoughts for the person or yourself that you resent. It's restricting your emotional happiness. Yes, 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 yes. So this is addressing the shadow self. Power number three. What are you resentful about? What are you resentful around? Okay, whether it's another person, or like I was saying earlier, something that maybe you did in the past that you are not proud of, all right, or that you feel shameful of, right? So just look at why you harbor resentful type of feelings. Okay, like that resent that you have towards something, okay, or someone, is still within. Okay, so even though you may not think that it is, okay, it's there, it is there subconsciously, right? And that's why it's called the shadow. Okay, but the shadow works through the ego. The ego is the little voice in the back of your head that tells you to think, act, behave in a certain way because it's quote unquote protecting you, right? And so this is why it's important for you to acknowledge those things that you are resentful about, okay, whether it's you or someone else, that causes you to be on the defenses all the time, okay, on the defenses all the time. Learn to work with your shadow rather than run from it, okay, and that's what's going to bring you the positive change. All right, and then you guys have save your shadow. All right, and it says try to save or fix other people, interfering, meddlesome, or servant. All right, and the message is cultivate your own garden. If you're busy trying to save or fix others, you risk not seeing your own issues. Yeah, so it's just like deflection, right? You rather focus on everyone else's problems but your own. Okay, and I don't mean to say like problems like as in the physical way, right? Even though there are physical problems, but I get more so like you rather point out someone else's downfall, someone else's flaws, someone else's mishaps, someone else's bad characteristics, right? You rather point that out as a way of you needing to or wanting to address fixing them, right, or what they need to do in order to fix them, or you may feel like you're the person who's going to fix them, not realizing that you have your own issues to fix. All right, but you feeling like you can change or fix someone else, or that you have the ability to be like this beacon of light in someone else's light, in someone else's life, it's only a deflection from you recognizing that the light needs to be shined in your own life, okay, because you have some things with these two cards here. You have things in your life that you are resentful about, that you need to go ahead and address, bring it to the forefront so that you can release and relinquish it, okay, let it go. All right, dance with it rather than trying to evade or run away from it as if it never happened or if it never existed. All right, so part of you, I mean, I get like you guys feel like if you can address, um, or acknowledge or address someone else's problem and help them feel better about themselves. Like, okay, so like with the defensiveness, right? You may feel like you can change other people's point of views or perspectives, and if you're able to do so, then that makes you feel like you've accomplished something, so that you feel better about yourself. If that makes sense, but this is how it's coming through, right? So you may feel like you always want to try to like be that person who's trying to make the correction in someone else's life, right? As this card says, it's not always about you. So you want to make it seem like you have a way of fixing others so that you don't have to fix yourself, right? If that's resonating or making sense, but that's how it's coming through for you. But now let's go ahead and pull some tarot, and we'll see what beautiful beloved Mother Goddess Isis, what additional messages she has for you around this. So thank you, my beautiful beloved Mother Goddess Isis. What additional messages do you have for PAL 3 in regards to their shadow diving? But yeah, so the saving that needs to be done, PAL number 3, is for you all to really save yourself. All right, really address things about yourself that you may have been running away from. We have the King of Swords in reverse. So yeah, so I'm getting some of you could really, especially with this defensiveness and resentful, some of you could be really like bitter people. All right. Some of you could be really bitter people. And like I was just saying earlier, like I'm looking at the meddlesome word on the Savior card. Like you're in other people's business, or you try to get in, other people's like you want people to see things your way. But it's all just a cover. It's like a deflection, right? Because you want to feel like that you have control, and that you're in, you have mainly control over what's going on in your life. But it can come off as very, very, very strong, right? Your opinions, like you're someone who's highly opinionated, is with this King of Swords coming up. Someone who's highly opinionated, even bitter, right? Because you want to portray that you have it all under control, right? But it's more so a defense. It's definitely a defense mechanism, right? Because you're harboring these emotions of resent. Okay, so it's gonna take for you to, and I feel like you guys want to step out of this energy, because I feel like this is a very heavy energy to carry. Okay, with this King of Swords coming up in reverse, I feel like this is a very heavy energy for you all to carry. All right, especially with the King of Swords in reverse and the resentful card here. You guys are really harboring things within yourself that is, not allowing you to breathe, not allowing you to feel free. And so this is why you guys are being called to really, really, really address whatever that is. PAL number 3. Okay, it's no longer running from it, no longer hiding from it, but really address whatever that is for you all. All right, and look, we have the 3 of Swords. Definitely past hurts, disappointments, like I was saying, pains, right? Something made you guys into bitter people. All right, King of Swords in reverse and the 3 of Swords. Some past hurt, regret, action, whatever that is, however that resonates for you, has caused you some heartache, some pain, and left you to be always on the defense, right? And left you feeling resentful. All right, and it just needs to be let go of. PAL number 3. All right, it just honestly, it needs to be let go of. All right, it's restricting your emotional happiness. All right, look at this, the 6 of Swords. Yes, let go. It needs to be let go of. And this is what the 6 of Swords is. The 6 of Swords is all about moving into new energy. All right, moving into new energy. And this is what I was saying too, like this with this King of Swords energy, I feel like the King of Swords in reverse energy, I do feel like that's a very heavy energy for you all to carry, right? And so this is why whatever it is that you're harboring, pal number 3, it needs to be addressed. Okay, whatever it is that you're harboring, it needs to be addressed. And I feel like you don't address it, uh, but it's it's kind of hard to explain how this is coming through. But it's like you're someone who, like I was saying, like you'd rather be all up in someone else's business, right? Or just like meddlesome, or just like feeling like you have control in someone else's business, or just pointing out someone else's flaws or whatever it is about them, because it helps you to not face the things that you need to face about yourself, right? And so the 6 of Swords showing up here is you just moving away from that type of energy, right? Moving away from that and moving into more of positive change. All right, with this positive change card being here, moving more into positive change. And it's the only way you're going to do that is by really addressing the things that has caused you the heartache, the disappointment, the pain, that cause you to be resentful. Okay, you have to dance with it, shadow dance, rather than run from it. And this is what's going to bring you peace of mind, pal number 3. All right, that is definitely what's going to bring you peace of mind. It's when you address those things head on. All right, head on, and not trying to run away from it. All right, 5 of Swords. Okay, 5 of Swords is either you win or you lose, but it's your choice. All right, someone has to win, someone has to lose. Either way, there is conflict. Okay, but in this particular 5 of Swords, it's like you overcome, because you see how he's holding the sword up there, and you have the defeated behind, right? And so this is you showing even the people who may have caused you this heartbreak or whatever the case is, showing them that you were able to overcome. All right, showing them that you were able to rise above. All right, and this is what you're being called on to do. Rise above. Okay, address and acknowledge whatever it was, that disappointed you, that hurt you, and just learn to live with it. Okay, it's what's coming through. You have to learn to live with it. Okay, otherwise you just continue to walk around resentful, bitter, um, angry, opinionated, and not the most nicest way, right? And this is what I'm getting for some of you, just opinionated and not the nicest way. And it's all because you're trying to cover up your own pain and your own hurt. All right, and so you win some, you lose some. Okay, it's what just came through. You do win some, you lose some, but it's up to you to continue to persevere. It's up to you to continue to move forward, and it is up to you to heal. All right, to face the shadow. All right, to face the shadow and let the shadow know you are no longer going to be in control of my life, right? You're no longer going to be in control over how I live my life, how I behave, how I view things, how I see things, right? Because I embrace all of those past hurts that I went through. I embrace all of the past pain that I went through. And it is what it is. I'm still here. I'm still thriving. I'm still living life. So hey, like I said, you win some, you lose some. You just have to know when to keep moving forward. Okay. And so you guys, I feel like you guys got a little stuck along the way, okay, and it caused some bitterness, for you to have your walls up, okay, to always be on the defense, cause you to be resentful, and now it's time for you to shake yourself out of this energy. 6 of Swords moving forward. All right, 6 of Swords, new energy, moving out of this King of Swords in reverse energy. All right, letting bygones be bygones. All right, so this is what you guys are being called to do. Pile number 3. Okay, and so my loves, that is all I have for you. So leave a comment below. Let me know how this reading resonated with you. Also, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, my loves, take care and Bye bye.